everybody. I'm Kathleen Hawkins, your proud president and founder with WOAMTEC. Thank you so much for joining in on WOAMTEC Live today. We have an excellent show. We're going to empower you with business education and information that can help you soar your business to success. We're going to strengthen your financial matters and help you regain your focus. And most of all, we are going to leave you feeling like $1 million. I'm so excited to have you here today, and I just got an email right before we aired live from our new director in Arizona. So thank you for sending me your director's agreement. I can't wait to see what we do out there. Texas is still tearing up the town. Wisconsin is building bigger and better. Maryland, you're on fire too these days, and I can't wait to come see you. And North Carolina this last month debuted 4 new chapters, and I'm looking forward to come visiting each and every one of you in May. We've got a busy year planned this year, but a great show planned for you today. So thank you for allowing me to work with you to help build your business, to strengthen your community, and just to embrace and grow and support one another. Today I have an amazing gentleman here that I had the amazing privilege of getting to know a little bit better, and I can't wait for you to get to know him as well. He has built a $1 million business. He is continuing to help other businesses throughout the community, and he's got an expansion plan headed this way. So now I'd like to take a moment and introduce Jeff. Jeff, thank you so much for being here today.
It's a pleasure to be here, Kathleen. Thank you very much for having me, and just an honor to you and what you do with WOAMTEC.
Oh, well, thank you. And I know you're helping us out a little bit with some great exposure, and I look forward to that. So Sharice is an excellent salesperson on your team and the proud director of the Viera chapter. Melbourne had a great meeting yesterday. Lots of leads came from your magazine to that meeting. So thank you for believing in our vision and helping us support it.
Absolutely.
Tell everybody a little bit about what you do and who you are.
Well, the best way to tell you who I am is I'm an ex-high school and college basketball coach that kind of got out of it at the end of the '89 season. My little girl was 2, and buying one of those $200 tutus for a 2-year-old said, basketball is never going to support this. And from that point on, I ended up with 3 kids. They're all either in or out of college at this point. Did a lot of different things entrepreneurially. Ended up starting Space Coast Business Magazine 7 years ago.
Wow.
Actually, this is the anniversary month, and we've grown for 7 straight years. Started in January of '06, doing print, high-end publications. Everybody said that market was dying. They said you shouldn't be starting a business. And if you listen to all those other groups, then you probably will end up doing what I call those barking dogs will tell you to do.
You know, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's one of the reasons why I wanted you on the show today, because you started in a very difficult time. The last 5 to 7 years have been challenging for many people.
Right.
But then you started in, like you said, the print industry, where most magazines I'm seeing are getting smaller, not getting bigger, and you're getting bigger. What would you say was one of your #1 reasons to help you be successful in an industry that so many are struggling?
I think we took a completely different approach to it, Kathleen, and that is we're business people that are doing journalism versus journalists reporting on business. And consequently, as a former CEO, when I looked at the business model, I always looked at it from the standpoint of what do I want if I was sitting on the other side of the table. And when you get into that kind of an experiential relationship with your clients, it makes everything so much easier instead of just trying to push on them what it is that you want.
Absolutely. You know, we believe here in WOAMTEC that when you put into the lives of others, it does come back to you. And I know a lot of businesses have that model, but I definitely see you living that model and doing it. What have you learned from some of the stories that have unfolded in your publication from other entrepreneurs that may benefit our audience members?
You know, I think the #1 thing is and it really revolves around the mission that we started with, and that was that positive does sell. And what I mean by that is we were told by different newspapers, different editors, different publishers, hey, look, negative sells. And guess what? That's what you see in TV. It's what you hear and find on radio and newsprint. And we just took the position that positive sells. And that has been a tremendous attraction. I think the other great thing is that we don't see the great stories, just like your own story and the people that you have on this show, and the many women that are a part of WOAMTEC and many of the businesses. It's those businesses that create 80% of the jobs. It's those businesses that have such great dynamic stories. It's those businesses that's the heartbeat of our country. And there's a lot of us that are out there that are really, really good people that understand the principles and values that make things good. And that's been very reassuring to watch as our businesses grow.
I'm so glad to hear you say that, because I know personally, just watching live right now, we have several businesses that are exactly what you say. You know, they're good people with a good strategy and a good heart that have struggled over the last 5 to 7 years, right. Or maybe successful and doing well. But that doesn't mean the last 5 or 7 years wasn't challenging, you know,
right,
because
right.
Even the most successful companies, we had to, you know, put on our big girl panties and throw our shoulders back and, you know, keep moving forward. So with that being said, talk to Patty Vandersee is on the online right now, Dan, Lisa, Gina Mounts, Tanya Cash. These are amazing people that are watching live. I want you to talk to them and give them some pointers on what have you learned in the last 5 to 7 years, and what advice would you give these entrepreneurs that are watching?
I think the single most important thing is that you've got to know your target and where you're going. If you don't know your target, you end up being just like a sailboat that's out there that doesn't have its sails up and the rudder in the water. You get pushed around wherever the wind's pushing you. And I said it earlier, I call it the dogs that bark. You know, they just don't bark at a parked car. An entrepreneur, a business owner, they're moving toward a target. And when you're moving toward a target, and by the way, when you're moving toward it and you're standing for something that's good, you got a lot of people that don't want you to succeed. But it's not those people that are going to ever cause you to succeed in the first place, but they are the ones that are going to keep you from ever getting there. You've got to make sure you're listening to the right people. Don't be afraid to know when you've got to tuck it in and when you got to be strong, and at the same time when to grow. Single greatest time to grow, when everybody else is restricting and coming in. That's an opportunity to take market share, but most people get to listening to the barking dogs and they tuck in, they get scared, they quit marketing. We took several companies, Kathleen, and we would not allow them to quit marketing when the 2007 real peak hit. Today they own the market. I mean, we've got a custom builder who now, he built 52 custom homes at an average price of $1.2 million last year in what 60 Minutes would tell you is a deprived marketplace of Brevard County. It's just not true. The entrepreneurial spirit carries the day. It's not big corporations.
I love it. I love it. And that's so true. And you are talking to each and every one of us, because I am starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel. Are you seeing a light yet out there?
It's not a freight train.
It's not a freight train. Okay.
It is definitely a light. And I think strategy-wise, you know, a lot of people hear about how entrepreneurs create the jobs. What they don't understand is that all businesses are meant to grow. Big businesses grow because they have to acquire. And when they go through acquisition, that means that you have to go through subtraction of jobs. If I acquire your business and you have 1,000 jobs or employees and I've got 2,000, you would think that means we got 3,000 employees. It doesn't. It means we got 2,500. Mm-hmm. Entrepreneurs are the ones that are growing, and they can add people and resources so that they can continue to grow. And that's the major difference. And that's the reason why, if you focus on the entrepreneur, you'll create jobs, which will then create the economy that everybody is looking for.
Okay, that's dead on accurate. I completely agree with everything you just said, so thanks for sharing that. You've done so many profiles, right, and I'm not sure if you still have the time to read each and every one of them, but in all of the years that you've been doing this, have you found any common denominators with successful CEOs or successful entrepreneurs? Yeah. Is there a spirit? Is there, you know, something that they've said? What kind of advice have they taught you?
I think most people would be very surprised that all successful CEOs, entrepreneurs that are growing, they read, number one. I mean, they'll, and it's not Agatha Christie novels. It's, you know, really, they read about how to help themselves, and then they read about the things about their business. The second thing is you'd be very surprised at the morals and the values and how centered all of them are. Everybody may be of a different religion or a different faith, but the values and the morals match up exactly the same. And that's a common denominator that you will find amongst all successful ones. The greed pieces that you hear about in the newspaper, look, you're hearing about them because they failed because they were greedy.
Right.
You know, and you may be experiencing one at a temporary time. We forget that the whole story gets told later. And you got to stay the course with the values, the morals. Read and invest into yourself, and it will come out in your business.
You know, I think it's funny because the first time we really met and got to know each other when we met with Sharice.
Right.
I remember talking to you, and that's why I was so excited to have you on the show and so excited to get to know you a little bit better, because I kind of saw the sparkle in your eye as we communicated, and you were like, you looked at Sharice at one point in time and you said, she gets it. And when you connect yourself with people that are the positive people, that are the ones that are going to help you, that are the ones that will lift you up or tell you when you need to step back, you know, but in a positive way. They get it, and that's what I've discovered, is there is a core. Surround yourself with people that are positive, professional, like-minded people that get it, and then let them teach you and grow on the way up, which is important.
Kathleen, it's so remarkable you say that, because I've always, as a basketball coach, just used simple language. You know, they get it. What does they get it really mean? And what the listeners need to understand is that the people that get it will never drown your spirit. It's the ones that don't get it that will tell you why you can't do something. They'll tell you what you're doing wrong, and they'll do it in a critical manner, not in a constructive criticism. The people that get it, and you know, you may be even a competitor, and they still believe in you. I've never been about putting anybody out of business, and when we came to Orlando to open up, the first thing was, who are your competitors? There's nobody. We're about increasing everybody's business. There's plenty of business for all of us, and that's the reason why it works.
I completely agree. Once again, because, you know, I think it is really important to know that when they get it, they know that you're going to be successful with I4 Business, no matter what competition that's out there, no matter what's in your way, because you believe, A, that you're moving forward with this vision with integrity and with the right morals and the right strategy, and to help other businesses, to really help them. And I've seen your publication. I'm honored to be able to be in it soon, so that is really cool.
We're honored to have you.
I already invited him on the show when he asked me to do that, but that's all about strategic partnerships.
That's right.
And, you know, I think that it's amazing because you are helping businesses, and it's not about, you know, pay $5,000 to be featured and to, you start to lose credibility in that.
Kathleen, you're mentioning something that really is important for your membership. A lot of times in membership and in networking, we're looking for the opportunities to meet people that can do something for us. And instead, and I know you teach this, but in every encounter, look to see what it is that you can add to them. And you'll find plenty more will come back to you later. And I think that that's the reason why just in our first encounter, things began to kick off real fast, because you know, I could tell you're constantly looking, what value can we bring? What value can we bring? You kept asking me, what can I do for you? And I'm like, that's not why I'm here. I'm here to do for you.
and together we'll do for each other.
And eventually it all comes back. That's exactly right.
Absolutely. You know, you did mention something about that you found a common denomination with different entrepreneurs that all have a certain vision and a certain faith, even if the faiths are different. I recently was honored to be part of a panel where they brought together the 3 top businesses that were honored in Seminole County, and our business was one of them as a new business. And every single person on the panel, we were all of different faiths, but we all mentioned how important our faith was in our business model. Why do you think that is? Like, for people that may not have as much faith, or people that are out there, why is that play such an important role in business?
Great question. And it really comes down to knowing the definition of faith and fear. And the definition is exactly the same thing. It's the things unseen in your future. And the entrepreneur can't go forward with fear. The entrepreneur goes forward in spite of fear with great faith, because they believe in the future. And most of the population, and again, this is one side it's an encouraging message to the entrepreneur. The other side is it's very discouraging because so many of our people walk around in fear of everything that they never do anything that they ever believe in. And instead, just reaching out, and it's okay. Take the step, have the faith, and if you fail, so what? Cowboy up, put it back on, and go again. There's never been a millionaire that wasn't broke before, except for the ones that inherited it, and they just haven't had enough time yet
exactly.
to give it all away.
Exactly.
So, you know, it's you just can't give money to anyone. You got to earn it, and the entrepreneur has that faith to act and face a fear.
Have you ever felt in the last 7 years the fear to the point where you had to just drop to your knees and just say, okay, I'm going to move forward in faith? Or like, have you ever had that? I remember the day that I had that moment, and it was this is going to happen. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to be afraid anymore. I believe that this is what I'm supposed to do. Did you ever have that moment?
There's none of us that don't. And I don't know that you don't continue to have those moments. The more you expand, the greater your reach, the greater the people that are also coming at you in opposition. And, you know, it's also the greater the decisions, Kathleen. And you have to be very, very careful about those decisions that you make, because in the early days you can make a mistake and there's not a lot of consequence. And the bigger you get with your business, each mistake carries a greater level of consequence. And that's something that, yeah, I will tell you from my basis of it, you can't do it by yourself. You better find the knees, or, you know, for me personally, it may be just riding in the car. Mm-hmm. But you always got to have that talk, and he's there to help you, and he's there to support you, and that's just part of my faith of how we go about doing our business.
That's awesome. You mentioned you can't do it by yourself. How many employees do you have working for your organization now?
We're up to right at 20 now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
from a leadership perspective, what makes you a good leader for those 20 people?
It's really interesting you say that. I was just having breakfast this morning with my pastor, and he actually works in our business now and has been in there full time for 90 days. And we were kind of debriefing, and he said, well, the one thing I know is that everybody in the office wants Josh's praise, my business partner, and everybody's afraid of you. And I said, I don't know if that's a good thing. And he said, no, I think it's a really healthy thing. He said, it's every great coach, and I'm not saying I was a great coach, but he said, you know, a coach relationship was a love-fear relationship. Mm-hmm. And he said, I don't know how you do it. I don't know why, but he said, that is the relationship. And so, you know, I just try to strike the balance to always find something good in somebody every day. I hate the business environment where I can't come in and compliment our receptionist on how great she looks because somebody thinks that's harassment. I got 30 years of marriage and 3 kids. I don't have the time for that nonsense, okay? And I don't have the time for lying. I mean, you know, once you start to get over 50, you realize you can't remember what you said, so you better say the truth all the time because it'll come back and get you. So you just believe in your people, and, you know, if you've got the wrong person, you know it. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and get rid of them. It's okay because they're going to be better off and you're going to be better off the longer you hold. And I think all of us as entrepreneurs hang on to people in employment longer than we should because we're all so caring. But you need to be slow to hire, quick to fire, and keep moving.
I love it. Great way to wrap it up. Slow to hire, quick to fire, and keep on moving forward. Jeff, you are just a wonderful man. I can tell it. It shows, and you know, it's amazing because having an employee feel comfortable enough with you to tell you how you're viewed, that's such a powerful tool because we do need to listen to our employees because he basically told you what is important for Josh to do and what is important for you to do, and that's a skill that every business needs to know.
Everyone, that's exactly right. And it's always great to look in the mirror. Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was a pleasure to have you here today.
It's a great pleasure. Thank you for letting me come on.
My pleasure. I look forward to working with you more. I4 Business, a new publication coming to town, so I will be sure to make sure that we get as many copies ways to you as possible very soon. We're going to take a brief break for just a moment. That was hard to say, brief business break. I add a few more B words and I'm going to be all tongue twisted for just a moment. But when we come back, we're going to learn some financial matters that make a difference. So once you start making that $1 million, we're going to help you figure out what to focus on when it comes to your finances. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, good job. Good job. Good job. Fireproof. Promo video done by the incredible Jeff Hawkins, my wonderful husband. So thank you very much, Jeff, for doing that for us. We have an amazing conference coming up. We have 4 great keynote speakers. We have, I believe, 12 amazing breakout session classes that are going to be available. And we are currently selling vendor booths and tickets. So reserve your ticket today. You can attend the main stage luncheon for as low as $39. You can attend the entire VIP 2-day event for only $99. And get this, if you're a vendor, vendors can be a vendor for $255 if you're a WOAMTEC member, $355 if you're not a WOAMTEC member, but with your vendor registration, you get 2 $99 full VIP passes. So that means your booth is like $60. Come on, people, come join us, have fun. It's going to be an amazing event, and we are going to fire up your business as we teach you how to fireproof it for the future. Speaking of business and speaking of fireproofing and making money, I am so excited to introduce you to a godly woman, a wonderful woman that I personally love, and she's a WOAMTEC member, and she is in the financial services and financial planning category, but I like to refer to her as a financial therapist. So now please welcome to the set, Michelle. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. You're just a delight, and I can't wait for all of our members to get to know you. So we're going to talk about something different. So if you're watching today and you're starting to tune out because you're like, you know, I don't need to learn anything about finances, I have a financial services person, she's going to share with you a different perspective, a perspective that I hope you hear our overall theme as we continue to talk today, because, you know, to find success, you have to first find your heart, and she's going to help you keep that focus. So Michelle, tell us a little bit about who you are and what is your company? What do you do?
Well, I am a certified financial planner. We have a fee-only investment firm in Winter Park doing purpose-driven financial planning. But basically, we are a financial therapist. There's so much emotion attached to finances that we kind of help you break that down, and the numbers take care of themselves. It's pretty simple. I don't even do the investment management anymore. I outsourced that a long time ago because I truly believe we're supposed to focus on our unique ability. And my husband called me a financial therapist for years, and I thought it was an insult. But now I've kind of taken it to heart and realized, you know what? It is. That's what it is. There's so much emotion. I had a lot of trauma as a child, unintentionally, and it's made me who I am. So I believe we're supposed to make our misery our ministry.
You know, I thank you for sharing that and saying that. And because we've done a business assessment call, I know a little bit about you and a little bit about your background, which, by the way, if you're watching today and wondering, how do I get on WOAMTEC Live? The first way to get on WOAMTEC Live is to schedule your 1-hour business assessment call with me so I can get to know you better and I can learn your talents and your skills and your traits. So that's what brought Michelle here today. Yes. And that's what helped us connect. And I really did discover that you do have a very caring servant heart. And it is not to you about selling mutual funds or, you know, investment planning. It's really about looking at everybody's situation and figuring out how big or how small they are, how to help them. Almost to the point where I had a question to make sure you weren't helping too much, but you're building a thriving, profitable business, so you're doing very well. Tell me a little bit about, you mentioned some trauma as a child. You said you wouldn't mind sharing this. Would you mind sharing a little bit about your story just so other members that may be feeling that there's so much psychology to it?
Oh, it's amazing, actually. I worshipped at the altar of fear for many, many years, to the point where I had put all my faith in my bank account. And I'm not ashamed to say that now, because a lot of people do that and they don't even recognize that that's what they're doing. When I was a child, my mom said the simple phrase, "Who's going to pay for that?" when I had ordered a refill. I'm starting to date myself. And I looked in my little purse and I started counting my coins, and I was terrified that I wouldn't be able to afford the drink. And from that point on, I hoarded money. And that's exactly what it was. And God has a great sense of humor. He brought me the most amazing man who had such a free spirit. And he just has an abundant mentality as opposed to the poverty mentality that I had. And we made a great team. And at the same time, we had the same values, but we spent money totally different. And you know, it's been a learning experience, and it's been a wonderful, you know, journey. But the emotional side of money has been my main focus, because you know, I have to do a little, you know, check to myself, you know, okay, why is it I feel that we can't take a vacation? It's been 5 years. And it was because growing up, my parents invented staycations. My father was a pilot, my mother was a travel agent, and they were always gone. So when they had vacations, they wanted to stay home. I never really valued vacations because I never went on them. I didn't know what to expect. I thought vacations are what you take when you're financially stable and, you know, when you've got everything taken care of. So my journey has been different, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Thank you for sharing that, because I think that that's important. It's the little things we do as parents that really mess up our kids, because it does create that emotional, you know, it's funny you talk about paying for stuff. Every time I go to put gratuity on a sales receipt, I panic, because my dad used to get mad when I was filling out the sales receipts if I couldn't do the math in my head fast enough. And it sets this panic, and it's so silly. I mean, like, something so simple. Why do I have anxiety? I mean, he's been gone for a long time, and I still have that anxiety. So how do we deal with these emotional triggers? How do we look at our finances and identify what emotionally may be blocking us or hurting us? What are some of the suggestions, or what are some of the things that you've seen or experienced with some of your clients?
Well, one of the trigger words that I will use when it comes to something financial and it's emotional and you're wanting to do something impulsive is the trigger word disengage. Just disengage. Don't do anything financial impulsively. Don't do anything financial emotionally. I had a guy in my office and he goes, "Don't we make all of our financial decisions emotionally?" And I was like, I would hope not. You know, and I said, actually, I did the same thing. Once my car broke down 3 times in 3 months, and I immediately took it to the dealership, and I made an emotional, horrible investment. But, you know, one of the things you need to do is just disengage and really just say, okay, what is it about this that is bothering me? And a lot of it revolves around we want control. And control is not ours to have, you know, especially with in a company. My investment firm is the perfect example. I fired myself in 2008.
You fired yourself.
Absolutely. I realized that no matter how hard I was trying to make things happen, they weren't happening. And it wasn't until I took a day off, which is something I never did, that things started falling into place. And it was like, wow, I'm not even in the office, and things are falling into place. So I recognized, I was like, you know, maybe I'm trying to ram a square peg in a round hole. Maybe I'm not the best advisor for myself. So that's when I surrendered my business and I said, Jesus, take the wheel. And it's been blessed ever since.
That's awesome. You know, I hope you're seeing the common denominator that we were talking about earlier with Jeff, because people that really do move forward in faith and not fear, because fear is a big focus, and people that move forward in confidence that you're doing the right thing and not this emotional thing or something because you feel like you have to do it or you should do it. So there's probably a lot of people. I know Trixie Walker's watching, Cindy Barnett's watching, Jennifer Ann is watching. Tell these people who, like, if they're sitting there and they're watching and they're saying, you know what, Kathleen, it sounds like a great idea. I don't have any finances to put in someplace, or this is not the right year. Next month I'll start doing this. What advice would you give to somebody that's been procrastinating doing something they should be doing?
You know, I often ask someone, what is their biggest asset? And they'll mention a home, an office building, something, you know, that produces income. And they so often fail to recognize that they are their biggest asset. And, you know, if the thing that I'm passionate about is managing your time wisely, because time is money. Everybody knows that old saying. Time is money. Your talents are obviously what you convert into money. And we need to be very wise with how we spend our time, our talent, and our treasure, as well as our temple, because, you know, it doesn't matter if you end up hitting the financial finish line that you set and you have billions of dollars if you don't have your health. That's the one thing money cannot buy. So we just have to be very good stewards of all those resources that God gives us.
I think that's awesome, and I know you brought a book that you're pretty passionate about today. What is that book, and why are you passionate about it?
Well, you know, it's actually a book that was written by the wife of the investment advisor we actually outsource our investment management to, and it's called The Other Side of Money, and I haven't even finished it. It is so new. I am excited to share it with you guys because it's all about making, you know, wise choices and being a good steward and just living a more balanced life, because I think that's what we all want. We all want balance. We all want to be happy. And if you're ridding yourself, I call it, you know, guilt is a toxic emotion. And if you feel guilty because you're not a good steward of your time, or if you feel guilty because you haven't started saving for those, you know, college educations that you know will be coming, that's something you need to confront, and if you're not good at it, you need to outsource it. Come to see a financial advisor, and you know, delegate. I say more of what you love, less of what you hate.
I love that. Say that one more time. Look at them. Say that one more time.
Do more of what you love to do and less of what you hate to do.
Which is so important because so many of us don't. We get focused on either the things that are time wasters or distractors, and not understanding that, you know what, if I can make more money doing what I love to do, doing the calling that God has given me to do, then that's what I need to do. And if that means hiring someone to clean my house, or if that means outsourcing something to do with financial planning, then that's what we need to do. Because
and I actually gave up couponing recently, and I have always been OCD couponer, and my husband made me realize, he said, honey, how long did it take you to save that $100 at Publix? And I was like, yeah, just a few hours. And I started doing it in my head, and I was like, 5, maybe 6 hours. And he goes, do you still enjoy it? And I was like, no, it's stressful. And he goes, focus on building your business. And he goes, I don't think you're being a good steward of your time. I was like, oh, you're right, you know. So I gave them to someone else, and you know, she does a good job with it. But you know, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, you know, that's my poverty mentality, is I can't go out to dinner unless I have a coupon. And it's like, you know what, I'm a child of the Most High, and I have an abundance mentality, not a poverty mentality.
As we're wrapping up here, when we're looking at our finances and we're looking at the things that we need to do, what are some of the biggest myths that you hear that people have, that people that come to you? What are some of the biggest myths that they have?
You know, it's funny, a lot of people are saving up and they don't even know what for. So one of the things I always say is you need to basically define your vision and your values, and then line up all your decisions based on those, and set goals. And you know, even ask yourself on a daily basis, are the choices I'm making lined up with the goals I have for my future?
Okay, your future and your family's future, because it's getting in line with your husband. Like, I'm sure it came to a point where the two of you had to come together and analyze what the emotions were that were coming to play in leading your decisions, and then figuring out where as a family you were moving and leading and going to, which is really important. So thank you so much for being here today and for sharing with us. And I know that she's an amazing person, so if you reach out to Michelle, now you've got a book that you're giving away. You are going to give away one book. So if you are online right now and you let us know, hey, let's see, what can we do? We can ask a question. I need a financial plan. The first person that types in, I need a financial plan, is going to win the Other Side of Money book from Michelle Ogden and be part of her journey to live a faithful life, an obedient life, to follow your calling, and to know that when you find that calling and you move forward obediently, you will be blessed with the wealth that you need, because God will always provide you with what you need exactly when you need it. So thank you so much again for being here today. I look forward to hearing more from you, and they can find you on the WOAMTEC directory.
Yes.
What chapter are you in, Michelle?
Winter Park.
Winter Park. So you can either sort by Michelle, sort by Winter Park, or sort by financial planning, and you will find her name. So connect with her on Facebook. It always helps to get to know other wonderful, passionate people. So thank you, thank you. We're going to take one more quick break, but don't go away, because when we come back, we are going to meet the fabulous Bette Lord Hillman, who is a stylist and an image consultant, and she's going to share with us some amazing tips for how to feel like $1 million even before you have it. So don't go away. We'll be right back. our goal with WOAMTEC is to redefine relationship marketing, to really change the way people do business across America. We don't focus on passing out business cards. We don't focus on spamming people's emails. We focus on building relationships. I am so excited to see people developing relationship with people all across America, coming up with ways that they can share ideas, they can offer support, they can sell each other's products and continue to make a difference. Just this last month, one of our fabulous members from Orlando visited the chapter in Texas, and they've already started doing business together. They were two real estate professionals, same category, different states, coming together to work with one another. Did you know that you can go to facebook.com, the WOAMTEC page, and join our group with over 1,500 people on it right now and actively engage? Tanya Roller at the office the other day joked around and she said she found an answer on the WOAMTEC group page faster than she could find it via Google. So that says something. Our members want to help each other. They don't just want to spam, connect. When someone posts something about their child or about an award they've won or something they're doing, reach out and say kudos, good job, because you know what? You take that stranger and you start to build a relationship, and as you build the relationship, you get to know each other. Don't let distance come between you. Speaking of distance, we are on the grow, and we are looking to build and connect with people across the nation. If you know of somebody who could get excited about being paid to become an authoritative leader in their community, to build their business, to support other businesses, and to empower women, we are looking for a few good leaders, so please connect with me. We are also looking for people to be on WOAMTEC Live in the upcoming months. If you have an educational product or service or topic or tip or pointers that can help small businesses, entrepreneurs, and commission salespeople across America, please reach out to us at info@woamtec.com and connect with us and say, hey, I have an idea. I'd like to be on the show. And we will get you on. Not in Orlando, can't make a distance or a trip here, not a problem. We can Skype you in because we are looking for guests all across America to contribute and to share ideas, to help us on our mission to build and strengthen businesses and build the economy in the USA. So now what I'd like to do is have someone help us build our confidence. We're going to meet the ever so wonderful, fabulous Bette Lord Hillman. She is an image consultant, a stylist, and an executive director with Mary Kay. Bette is here representing her consulting business today, and you're going to tell us a little bit more about how to look fabulous. So
I just am so excited to be here. This is one of my favorite things about being in WOAMTEC is what you provide through WOAMTEC Live.
Aww.
And I was just thinking as you were sharing about connecting on Facebook and getting to know people around the country, and what I loved about the last conference we had, was I had the opportunity to physically meet some people that I already had gotten to know on Facebook, and it meant so much about the connections that you were talking about with relationships and how important it is that WOAMTEC provides different avenues for us to connect with people we would ordinarily never meet.
Absolutely, you know, and with technology, it's becoming easier and easier, and I'm so glad you mentioned the point about conference, because this was the first conference that I too was excited. People were passing each other in the hallway, and just because they never met each other before, they didn't really know each other, they never spoke to each other on the phone, but they'd see each other's faces and they'd be like, oh, we're friends on Facebook, and they'd hug and they'd embrace, and it went boom, from a cold connection to a sisterhood.
Yes.
Of love and support and mentorship. So I appreciate you sharing that. And you know, it's really our goal to help women like that all across America, and we can do that one by one by working together. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take a moment and tell them a little bit about what you do. So who is Bette Lord Hillman, and what do you do?
Well, obviously as a Mary Kay sales director since 1985.
Wow.
I work with people on image, and prior to Mary Kay, I had a company called Body Classic, and I also worked on image, and I worked on wardrobe and physical fitness. And so now that my son is out of the house and married and happy, I'm so delighted about that. I've had an opportunity to pick up more clients in the wardrobing area. So I'm a professional image consultant, and my tools are wardrobe, skincare, and makeup.
Okay. What I love the most about you is a lot of stylists that we've had on the show and that have been part of WOAMTEC in the past even have focused on style. Okay, and that's fine. I get that. That's really cool. They focus on the fashion show stuff from Paris and the couture clothing line. I've never really been, I don't think I'll ever spend $400 on a pair of shoes. That's not me. So and I don't want to encourage members across America necessarily to always feel like they have to go out and reinvent their wardrobe with every season. And what I like about you is you are always so put together, you are always so classically elegant, and your tips are very practical. So it's that's not pushing me out of my comfort zone. Like, I don't have to wear funky pantyhose or, you know, something.
Right.
I could you find someone's personality and then you give them that polished look that so many women have a hard time finding. So that's what I think makes you look different. Do you agree with that?
It's a wonderful process of creating with a person. I do agree with it 100%. And it's finding some of those pieces that make a statement about the person. Taking a look at what you're doing, where you are now in your life. I mean, obviously one of the things that I'm doing is making an effort to look current. And, you know, obviously, you know, I'm not 20. But it's interesting, too, because one of my clients who was 20 was going to school in LA as a doctor. And what we did was create a wardrobe for her where she didn't look like the secretary, so that when she was in the class, that the other students as well as the professors saw her as an MD. And it was very interesting. How do you do that? Have her still look age appropriate and yet look like a young lady, and nevertheless look like somebody who can be a doctor and have the answers and have a position of authority.
You know, I'm so glad you just shared that story, because it is so important. Like, people don't understand how important their image plays on their level of success. You know, like, I know, and we've talked about this, there are certain things I have to do with my image to take me to the next level.
Yes.
I'm cognizantly aware of that. And if I don't, then there will become a ceiling eventually if I don't make those changes. So whether your child is 20 and going to college, the professors, and I used to teach at a university, so I know the professors do psychologically judge students based upon the way they act and based upon their image. And if they're borderline with a grade, I've got to tell you, as someone that taught at a university, their opinion of that child or that student will make a difference. If they're 79 or an 80, you know, borderline right there, it's going to be one way or another. So that's
it's true.
Critical.
And it does seem like it's the shallow end of the pool. But the fact is, what got me so passionate about this was way, way back. I was connected to Dr. Ellen Burscheid from the University of Michigan, and she did studies on the American obsession with good looks. And out of these studies, they discovered that a person makes in 1/10 of a second in time, 1/10 of a second in time, they make a decision about us as to whether or not we're attractive, unattractive, whether or not, based upon that first thought, if you're considered attractive, you automatically are assumed to be somebody who's more trustworthy. You're automatically assumed to be somebody who not only will succeed professionally, but socially. And there's a host of all of those things. So it is important that you just take a few moments and pay attention to how did you choose to look on the outside. We want it to be what's on the inside, don't we?
And that matters.
We do, yes. And yet the studies continue to prove, and I have continued to follow them, that people make choices on what we look like on the outside.
Well, you know, let me give you just a shallow example of that, okay? Every now and then I go to the WOAMTEC directory and I'll do a sort by categories or a sort by chapter. When I was selecting the 12 breakout session speakers, you know, I have to choose people from different demographics, from different areas, which means I'm choosing people that I don't know.
Right.
So first I look at, okay, what is their category? Could they possibly have a topic based upon their category that would make a good breakout session class? And then I go to that category and I see, you know, 15, 20, 50, whatever, people in that category, and I am looking at their faces.
Yep.
Now, if their photograph looks professional, they're probably going to get a better chance of being selected or reached out as possibly being a speaker, because you want professional looking people on your marketing materials that are being sent all across America. If their smile looks approachable, if they look likable, if they look friendly, and this isn't a photograph, so I haven't even looked at them, I mean, I haven't even talked to them, I haven't even met them, and these are things that I use in my selection process. So imagine how many other people make decisions and everything else that you come in contact with the same way. Would you agree with that?
I 100% agree, and you know, there's more we can do than we think that we can. But everything that we do matters, and the more the world becomes a soundbite world, the more important it is that we look like we belong to that product. In New York, as an actress, when they put you up for a commercial audition and they have you next to a mop, You know, you need to go in there and look like you belong with that mop. And so just like you were doing with the WOAMTEC directory, making sure that the photo of that person looked like it belonged to the industry she was representing, and then also making sure that there was the look of success, you know, because on the road to success, we've got to look like we belong there. And that's what I enjoy doing, is helping people look like they belong there, so the doors open and they have more business, more agreement in their life, and everybody wins.
I think that's amazing and wonderful. And you know, something else that you mentioned earlier that I think that probably most people wouldn't take the time to speculate, but she actually does Skype seminars for people that are just on Skype. So, I mean, think about it. How many people are doing webinars right now? How many people are doing seminars right now and aren't understanding how much their image in that little Skype window could kill their business or make their business, which is important. So what do you do for those types of people?
Well, you definitely spend a lot of time on what draws focus to the face and what draws warmth to the face, what attracts people to you. And isn't it hilarious whenever we're watching the news and we see the news anchor stand up and you realize they've been in jeans the whole time, but they had this great suit on and jewelry and they look great, and yet they weren't ready on the bottom. So that's what a Skype appointment is all about, how to do that.
So even if you're not here, you know, understanding that that image is going to matter. You know, I can tell you, we did a Skype interview with somebody once who was supposed to be real successful, and when we were interviewing her, it was on WOAMTEC Live, and when we were interviewing her, she had a lot of distraction items in the background and a lot of papers on the bookshelf, and she wasn't dressed as professionally. It was a little mousy, I think, in the attire that she chose that day, and it did market her not as credible as she probably would have. Where last month we had Joe Rosen, who was an attorney from Atlanta, and you could tell his office was an executive office. He was dressed like an executive, and you could tell he was successful. I mean, just by looking at his desk. Do you know what I mean? So all of those things are really important. Now, what kind of tips or suggestions do you have to share with us today? Is there anything that you think that our audience may benefit from hearing?
I do, and you know, it's spring and everybody's getting excited. They're trying to put away their winter clothes, even though it's cold in Florida, and it's, you know, the fashion industry is going to come out and bring out favorite colors, or and a lot of times they bring out whimsical clothing and whimsical prints, and the problem with those sometimes is that they're not bold or professional, and so you want some of the prints that are very tiny, tested, inefficient. So you send a message of not being strong enough to handle a challenge or handle the work environment professionally. So I would just make sure you mix and match prints with other solids so that you still keep a strong together statement about yourself. And then the other thing is the whimsical clothes sometimes are loose and baggy and breezy and wonderful and very special for showers and different events that you go to. But for business, the rule, in my opinion, is to couple them with a piece. If it's a loose, flowy skirt or pant, then make sure your top is more fitted, or vice versa. If it's a flowy top, then make sure your trousers or your skirt is more fitted, more like a pencil skirt. Does that help? Does that give you an idea?
Absolutely. I think that's really good. And you know, I know that colors, there's a lot of psychology behind what colors that you wear. I remember back in the Bill Clinton days, when they were going through all the marital problems, Hillary Clinton always wore green. She always wore green. And green has a tendency of being more of a supportive color. And now that she's in a different role in her life and for our nation, she's always wearing red, blacks, or blues. You know, it's totally different. So I know you could probably help people with what color is best, not only for your skin, but for the statement that you're trying to make for an event.
Exactly, and what do they want? You know, we go through goal setting. You know, what are they looking for now? What doors do they want to open? And colors definitely play a part. Clothing plays a part. Makeup, hair, you know, everything. And some people have it all together, and they just need someone to steer them in the right direction to create what I call the element of surprise. You know, how do you look professional, look like you have it all together, and yet have that wonderful delight that you're somebody that's on the go and in the know, and I call that sometimes the surprise element.
Absolutely. Well, you know, the good thing about that is once you get that surprise element, you get that look, you will find yourself, if you're on the go and in the know, you will find yourself getting more publicity opportunities because magazines like Jeff would be more likely to want to profile you because you do have that on the go and on the know look
Yes.
that makes you an authoritative figure, and that's really important. So what is the biggest faux pas that you see people making right now?
I think that the people have 20/20 vision of what works and what doesn't work, meaning you were able to look in that directory and you could go yes, no, and we're like that. I mean, 1/10 of a second, we do it. So we can all do that. We need to take a moment, in my opinion, and do it with yourself. Just pause before you go out the door. Look in the mirror. Ask yourself, is what I'm wearing going to assist me and open up the doors to what I want for my day? And usually you can figure out what you might change slightly to just make a better presentation and image impression of yourself.
And not just when you're going to work. Because I think that often we forget, especially when we're redefining relationship marketing, often we forget that it really is about, like for me, for example, I don't know sometimes when I'm meeting members. I've had members say, oh yeah, I saw you at church, but I didn't say anything. Or I saw you at the grocery store, but I didn't say anything. Because I may not, if I don't look at the directory enough, I may not recognize somebody's face.
Right.
Because I don't even see most of the applications these days. So it's hard for me to recognize people. But we have to remember that when we're at the grocery store, when we're at church, when we're at the gym even, you still you're still your brand. You are still the person that is the person that is behind your product, good, or service, and you need to make sure you're communicating it correctly.
I agree.
That could be at the gym or it could be out on a Friday night, because you never know. And with social media today, you never know when your photo is going to be captured.
Oh my,
and when
it's
you're
so
going to be tagged.
I have another tip too.
Yes, absolutely.
And I called it high-low. You know, when it is spring and we are encouraged to purchase something fashionable, if it's trendy, spend a low amount on that item. And so that would be the low part. And the high part is if you see something, you want to add it to your wardrobe and you feel it will transcend fashion and be good for a year or two, or will add to whatever branding you're making a change toward and transitioning to, spend more money on that. So that would be your higher priced item, and then your low priced item would be for that print pair of trousers or something that's just right for spring or summer.
Did you see anything with the wardrobe at the Oscars that will give you an idea as to where some of the trends are going?
Wow, isn't it fun to watch all those gorgeous, and you can always see the elegance, can't you?
Absolutely.
Usually there's one or two people and they just did it right. I love to watch it. I don't know if I could put one finger on anything. I love the beautiful color coral that's come out, all the orange and bright reds. Of course, you never know for sure how you're seeing it from the TV camera. You know, and of course, always thinking about how color makes sure that it's not wearing you, that you're wearing the color, and that's an interesting element, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So, I don't know if I could really answer that.
No, you did, and you named a couple of things, because I think color is really important, and you're right, you have to make sure that you're making a statement, but that you're making a statement and not what you're wearing making the statement. You know, it really has to come together very nicely. One of the things that I noticed is everybody seemed to have more of a polished look. You know, the rough hair, or it was more tailored, it was more polished, it was more classic and elegant this year than some of the years in the past. Even the men, you know, even for a lot of the men, which was really cool.
I just wish the dresses had fit better. One of the things I noticed, I just felt they were long. It's like they almost decided they weren't going to hem it because they were going to give it back or something. I just didn't quite understand it. I liked it to be a little better fit.
So how important is alterations and fitting? Like, how often do you buy something and then take it to get it altered?
Well, hopefully if you're buying, you know, if you find the proper style or brand or label for a given person, there shouldn't be much alteration, because there are clothes out there that work for all of us. You just take a little extra time to get the right thing. But the fit for a man or a woman, Kathleen, can make all the difference in the world, and it's such a worthwhile thing to do.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you so much for sharing today.
I just love it.
We're running out of time, and I know you want to talk about this product, and I know you use Mary Kay as part of the vehicle to give the put the finishing touches on somebody. You're going to offer this product to any WOAMTEC member 15% off for the month of March. Is that what you said?
Correct.
Okay,
yes.
so tell them real quick what this product is before we leave today.
All right. Well, really quickly, Mary Kay is for all ages, and this is our newest time-wise repair system. So this is a volume firm, patented formula for people that are wanting to counter the advanced aging signs of skin, which could be wrinkles, loss of volume in the face, or whatever. So everything in Mary Kay has been given the Good Housekeeping stamp of approval. Everything in Mary Kay is 100% guarantee. So your offer to just try this to see if it answers what you're looking for to improve your skin is really complimentary, because if you purchase it at the 15% off and don't like it, you can return it and exchange it for something else, or you can get your money back. Okay. So that's my WOAMTEC offer. And I just want to emphasize to everyone how important it is for them to have their consultation with you, really take advantage of one of those incredible member benefits, and to take advantage of WOAMTEC Live. Just the experience of being on camera with you, I think will help everyone in their business.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. And you know, as our YouTube channel continues to grow, we're continuing to get lots of hits, and it's really helping people's search engine optimizations, bringing their name higher in the ranking, because YouTube does do so well with increasing your SEO.
Yeah.
Now, last but not least, we're doing a fun event in May together on Mother's Day.
Yes, we are.
To support the WOAMTEC Foundation and our Courage to Dream campaign. For those of you that don't know what the Courage to Dream campaign is, we are working together to end the cycle of victimization, to help children who have been abused, neglected, and abandoned through no fault of their own. And Bette is so kind to bring together some amazing people to help us help these children in a big way in 2013. So quickly, can you tell us a little bit about your event?
I can, and you'll hear about it. You'll see it on Facebook, you'll see it on LinkedIn, and you'll see it in the news. But the beautiful Karen Williams, who has, of course, created the Courage to Dream song, is going to sing and have a concert for Mother's Day, and it's going to be in Maitland. So we're very excited about it. It's May the 12th. It's a concert from 3 to 5, and we're going to have refreshments, we're going to have fun, we're going to have silent auction, and we'll have at least an hour of beautiful Karen Williams singing a concert with us.
That's awesome.
So,
now, for those of you that don't know, Maitland's just not too far from Orlando, so if you are watching and want to participate in Bette's event, she is looking for a few good vendors. So if you want to be a vendor and have a product that a mom might get excited about seeing or using, or might be able to twist their spouse's arm into buying for them since it is Mother's Day, please reach out and let us know, or connect with Bette on Facebook or on our WOAMTEC directory page. And also, she's looking for silent auction items. So if you have an item that you can donate to us just to help us out and to help us empower children with the courage to dream, we would love to hear from you. So thank you again, Bette, for being here today. I greatly appreciate it. God bless you and all you do. And for everybody else that's watching live, Trixie Walker, today is your lucky day. You won the book from Michelle, so congratulations. Anybody else that's watching, I want to thank you for taking time out of your crazy busy day to join us today on WOAMTEC Live. Thank you for believing in our vision, for helping us help others make a difference in their communities across America. It's because of you that we are continuing to make a difference each and every day. And for that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. God bless, and we look forward to seeing you next month.
These shoes have holes like wounds on my soul, and the rain is coming down. My heart's a little fragile, and my faith is searching for some higher ground.